Hey my friend, this is Joe Bakhmoutski, author of Simplify Cancer and founder of Power to Be Happy. Right now I'm super excited to be talking to you about transformational change and how you can make that happen in a time of uncertainty. Because when we normally live our lives, well, I really look at change as really coming in two ways. One is it comes from outside. It's kind of how you interact with people. It's how you respond to external events. It's how you deal with challenges that come up for you. So that comes from the outside. But then also you've got the change that comes in from the inside. It's how you remember things. It's how you look at the world, through your beliefs and your values. It's how you think through a situation, right? So normally what happens is the way you deal with change from the inside and the way that you deal with change with the outside, they are aligned, right? They are in sync, right? Let's say something happens, externally, and you have time to go, well, what should I do now? And you can get time to think through it and respond to it, in a normal way that you would. Or conversely, if something comes in from the inside, let's say if you had an idea, you typically then have time to think about, well, how do I go about making that happen? And then you kind of put it to play in your life. So that's really important. And so essentially those two wheels of change is how I really think about it, right? Those two wheels of change, they're kind of in sync, right? They're moving forward together. They're aligned. So you kind of, you're managing that change as you are going along. But what happens when uncertainty comes in? It just throws them out. Because it might be some sort of an emergency that you gotta deal with, that you gotta get on top of, right? So that comes in, but you haven't really had the time to adjust to it. So you're just kind of responding to it, just in a doing what you do, but you haven't had the time to mentally adjust to what's happened. So they get out of line that way, but you can also come from the inside. Let's say you have some sort of a worry that's bothering you, and you can't stop thinking about it. And what ends up happening is that you still end up still going about your day the way you normally do things. And again, it's kind of out of line with your worries and things that are bothering you when you don't really know what's going on. So those two wheels of change, they get out of sync. And what we really want to be able to do is to bring them in line. We want to bring them back in line first so that they are kind of going in the right direction, right? So that when you have, for example, a challenge that's come in and something that throws you off, you actually have time to think through it and adjust accordingly and change what you do without it really throwing you off. And the way to really do that is, the way that I really think about it is, how a surfer, gets on top of the wave. Like most of the time when you're out surfing, you're really waiting and looking at waves that are coming your way, right? You stand there and you're gonna go, is this the right one? And if it is, that's when you get on, and that's when we try to ride that wave, right? So it's interesting that this is what we really want to be doing with our lives. This is what we want to be doing when we're going about our day, when something comes up. When you come across something in your life, like, and when you're interacting with the person, or something's happened, some sort of an event, or maybe a thought has come up. We really want to be dealing with it in a way that we really want to be able to look at it and examine it first. We want to see it first, the way you would if you were waiting for a bus, right? Let's say if you're on a bus stop and you see that there's a bus coming your way, the first thing you want to be able to do is see, like, is this the right bus for me? Like, is this bus number, whatever it is, right? Is this the right bus? And even if it stops, you want to see, well, is it is it full, right? Because if it's packed with people, then maybe you don't want to get on. Or maybe if this, you can sense this some kind of trouble, maybe there's some kind of person that's stirring things up on board, and maybe you don't want to get on, right? So you kind of make that judgment as you're waiting for that bus, and you're basically asking yourself, do I want to get on? Right, on the bus, is it going where I need to go? Does it look like safe? Does it look like it's going to be comfortable? Right, so you kind of examine it and see it, and then you make a decision for what you're going to do. And this is how we really want to approach our life. I know it sounds so basics, but we don't really do that most of the time. We just, something comes up, especially in a time of uncertainty, whether that's a worrying thought or whether that's some sort of a situation that you didn't really expect, and you just jump in and you start kind of reacting to it. We want to be able to take that back and to really examine what happens. So if you have an event that pops up, or if you have a thought, you really want to examine and go, do I want to get on? Is this the thought, or is this that really deserves to be there? Or if this is a worry, and I can just kind of let it go past. I can just let it go. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to get myself worked up. I can just let it go. Let it go like a bus that's pulled up and you're going, it's just going to move along. It's just going to move along, and it's just going to do its thing. And the same with events. If something happens, you go, do I really need to sort this out? If you get an email at work that kind of throws you off, you go, maybe I should just put that away to the side. Maybe it's not as urgent as it claims to be. Maybe whatever this thing is, maybe it does not deserve my full, undivided attention. Maybe it does not deserve as much energy as I'm giving this thing, as I'm feeding this this supposed emergency that just jumped in your face. Has just jumped out at you. So I think we really want to be looking at it in that way. And when you start to examine things, when you start to examine things that come from the inside, your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions and feelings, and when you also examine kind of your interactions with people and the challenges that come up and kind of everyday tasks that you got to do, and you kind of examine them first, and you almost only get onto it only when you see that it's something that is right, or something that really requires your time and energy, you start to free up a lot of your mental space, because you're going to let go of some of these things. You're going to let go of some of these thoughts. You're going to let go of some of these interactions that you have with people. You're not going to get attached to certain events that happen and that might really affect what you do. So you get a lot of kind of just clarity, and just a lot of room, just a lot of just mental space to just get those change wheels more in line. And what happens then? You start to have more time for things that you truly care about. You start to have more times to reach your goals, to kind of fulfill on your ambitions, to go towards your dreams. And what's interesting, when you start to do that, when you have time to make that change from the inside with an idea, with your ambition, when you start to manifest that, when you do, in the world, when in the outside, when you start to do it, when you start to go in towards your goal, or maybe you start getting some results, or you start getting a little bit of momentum to go along, this is when real transformation happens, because one thing ends up leading to another. It's like a chain reaction, right? If you do something towards your goal, then it's going to trigger off something else, and then it's going to set off another thing, and all of a sudden, your time, your energy is filled with things that you truly want to do, right? So let's say your goal was to write a book, right? Well, then you're going to think, well, how am I going to get the word out of about the book. Maybe I need to, do stuff on social media. Maybe I need to find a publisher. Maybe I need to try and talk to a non-profit organization that reaches those people. So you're gonna have all sorts of ideas that come up in every area of your life, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to support your family, or whether you want to make a difference in whatever way that is for you, right? This is the real transformational change that happens when you start to look at change that comes in from the inside and from the outside, and you stop yourself from reacting to things, because you're going to be more observing things. You're going to be examining things to decide whether this is something that requires your time and energy, that gives you more headspace to do what you really want to do. And then when you start doing things that are truly important to you, your goals, your ambitions, you're going towards your dreams, it starts this chain effect where all of these things start to build up on each other, and you get this momentum that really changes and makes you feel on top of the world. It makes you feel, because those two wheels of change, they're aligned, and you achieve the real transformation that you have always wanted in your life, to be the person that you want to be and make a difference that you want to make in the world. Thanks for watching this. My name is Joe Bakhmoutski. I'll see you soon.